Well, we came, we saw, and fitting for a duck, we got smoked. Pain, the life of an Oregon fan. So, yep, here's my reaction to what in the hell happened last night. Um, I'll have some thoughts that will be provided in video made by Red5478, who will do a little mini recap of the Oregon game, mostly just to laugh at Oregon. Um, but I wanted to make a longer video with my thoughts, but I will link his channel down below. I'm pretty sure his video will come out sometime after mine does, but um, yeah, so full disclosure, I had to shut the game off early because I had to go to bed early because work. But honestly, I didn't looking at how the game ended, 56 to 22, 35-7 at the end of the half, the first half that is. I'm kind of glad I didn't even leave it on to sleep through because yeah, no, that we got stomped. Um and first of all, I do want to give Indiana their props. They do deserve it. They are the best team in the nation, and Miami, Miami, you're going to get turned into a tropical depression. Maybe even worse than that because you will not be Hurricanes in the national title game. Like it is so crazy that we're getting a title game between a team that not even 2 years ago was relatively terrible against a team that has been memed to death and back as part of the Tank Conference, otherwise known as the ACC, who hasn't been anywhere close to winning a national title in a long time since at least since they haven't won a national title since the 90s. They haven't been to the national title game since what, 2002, and they lost off some controversy to Ohio State. Like, and that's even the funniest thing when you look at the Final Four, because you had us who have never won a national title and Ole Miss who's claimed one, but they've never won one outright. So either way, once Ohio State and Georgia got dropped out, you knew that there was going to be a new champion. The fact that it's going to be one of Indiana or Miami, and most likely is going to be Indiana, Miami, you just add on the extra context of they're not even the ACC champion and they're here. It's so funny. And yet, it's pain. It adds even more pain as an Oregon fan because you have Mario Cristobal, who, for whatever reason, there's now revisionist history going around on Twitter about, ooh, crack my knee, about when Mario left and what Lanning has done since. And let's make one thing clear. Mario leaving and Lanning getting hired, promoted, whatever the case may be, was probably the best thing that could have happened for Oregon. Let's not forget, Mario has had one, if not two, very, very baffling things happen in his Miami tenure. Um, the not taking a knee against Georgia Tech is the obvious one. There's one other one, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he's had those moments. Miami is choked, in the last each of the last few years and this year. Um, and literally the only reason why they're here is number one, they beat Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, and number two, they were just good enough to be part of the bracket, to be part of the top 12. But again, they beat Notre Dame because that was a whole argument. Um, but like, let's not get it twisted. Mario leaving Oregon was the best thing that happened for both for Oregon primarily because it was going a direction where it's like, yeah, this isn't going to work out too much longer. So, and then Mario got paid the big bucks to go to Miami. Lanning came in, and Lanning has built the program up with his guys over time. And I mean, again, last year, first year in the Big Ten, we win the we win the Big Ten conference, only to get blown out by Ohio State in the second round in a game that should not have had. Like, that's the thing. Last year has the caveat of if they did the seeding correctly, we would not have played Ohio State coming off of a bye week in the second round. That would have been the national title game, if not a semifinal game. Whether we still get blown out or not remains to be determined, but the point is that game should not have happened when it did. This year, there's just nothing to hang your hat on. Yeah, it was a great season, but both of our losses came to Indiana, and somehow the first one wasn't worse than this. How? Like that's what blows my mind is somehow the first game was competitive. We should have got smoked that one in that one. But then again, you can make the argument that neither team that Indiana wasn't at the peak of their powers yet, which you're probably right. But when you also consider a lot of the receiving core issues that we've had this year, how that game was anywhere close for the majority of it, when it was literally Dante Moore, throw it to Kenyon Sadiq and hope to God it works out or you're screwed, you know? Um, but yeah, there's, it's so hard to formulate a thought because in the video that Red, if I haven't mentioned him already, Red 5478, subscribe to him. I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm blanking. I've had to do this video a couple of times over, including where my freaking laptop decided to freeze up because it does that for some reason whenever I'm recording a video off the camera on the fucking laptop. But anyway, when I gave him my thoughts for last year's Oregon video that he did after we got blown out by Ohio State, I had said it's Dante Moore's time now, because Dylan Gabriel was going in the draft, and I'm pretty sure I figured we'd probably be right back in this same spot competing for a national title. I don't think I said that we were going to regress at all because we were bringing back a lot of the same guys. This year is different, and I have Tankathon pulled up because not a lot of it is guys that have already declared, and but most of it is guys that it's just speculation that they'll probably declare. For example, there's rumors that Dante Moore might not enter this year's draft, and he might come back, which is would be nice. But like when you look at this, and mind you, they only do up to and through the fourth round. Um, Dante Moore could be drafted if he declares. Kenyon Sadiq, if he declares, he's a first round pick. He's probably the best tight end off the board. Um, Amari Washington, Manuel Pregnon, Dylan Theneman, Mateo Ugalele, um, Isaiah World. I'm just scrolling the list right now, so because I don't edit this stuff, so I'm just scrolling the list. Like those are the first ones that are listed of Oregon guys that Tankathon has getting drafted. And this doesn't even account for the fact that Bryce Betcher is a Houston Astros draft pick, which I didn't realize until I read a tweet about it. He got drafted back in 2024, and the only reason why he's still at Oregon is because they're letting him. They gave him that permission, and they still retain his draft rights for this year. So wherever he decides to go, he's either going to go to the NFL or he's going to go to Major League Baseball, one way or the other. We already lost some guys to the transfer portal before the playoffs or during the playoffs or whatever. One of the backup QBs, Austin Novosad's gone. Wide receiver Justice Lowe is gone. There's some other guys that are gone. It's going to be interesting to see how we replenish and stuff like that. I wouldn't be shocked if some other guys choose to transfer It's going to be interesting to see who else decides to declare for the draft. The point of the matter is, and I said this in my thoughts given to Red, and I will say it here as well. I fully expect next year is going to be a regression year. And I look, I have no doubt in my mind that Dan Lanning will do the best with what he's got, but this is going to be a year. 2026 is going to be a year where there's going to we're pro and when I say regression, I don't mean going from a one loss team to like a six loss team. This is a team that with the guys that we're losing and the other things that are happening, depending on who we get, um, most likely will probably go from being a one loss team to like a three loss team, maybe a four loss team. I don't think we're going to be in the playoffs next year. Um, we'll definitely be in a bowl game. There's no doubt. Like this team is too talented to not be in a bowl game, but I don't know if we're going to have enough of the talent to be a playoff team in 2026. Now, if Dante and Kenyon both stay for another year, that's a different discussion. At that point, I'm willing to believe that we'll probably be right back in the same spot, competing with Indiana, competing with Ohio State for the Big Ten title, and probably back in the playoffs again. There's an argument that with some of the other talent that we're losing, that maybe we lose that second game and we don't get in, or we'd be a lower seed playing in the wild card, whatever the case may be. But I, I, I don't see the Ducks being a top five team, a top five ranked team at the end of next season, going into the playoffs. I think we'll probably be a two or three loss team that's ranked about in the somewhere between like 15th and 20th by the end of next regular season. If I had to say it now, um, and I want to believe that we're going to be a top contender again. But again, you have to look at the talent that we're losing, and not every player that we get through the transfer portal or through recruitment is going to be able to fill all those gaps. Um, so it's going to be interesting, man. That being said, it was a good year. Um, I don't think it obviously wasn't as good as 2024 was because again, yeah, other than winning a national title, how could you be any better than winning the Big Ten in your first year in the conference? Um, but yeah, I'm very interested to see what next season is going to look like with this team. But um, that's the other thing. Indiana is probably going to beat Miami, probably by a couple scores, if I had to guess. Indiana is going to do something in Kurt Signetti's second year as a head coach at this school, not in his career, but at Indiana, just a couple years removed from that team being trash. He's going to do something that Oregon has been fighting to do for years now. I was trying to find there was two tweets that I saw earlier and I wish I had saved them. But basically naming every single thing that has happened with Oregon in like a specific game each year, or where they ended up, or whoever it was that or so no, one of the tweets was each of Dan Lanning's losses since he's been hired at Oregon and what that team went on to do that year. And there's literally only two teams on that list that Oregon has lost a game to in that particular year to that particular team where they haven't done something. Um, whether it be win a conference, win a playoff game, win the whole damn thing, what a bowl game, whatever. Um, and then and then there's the other tweet was from Chip Kelly's tenure and listing everything, listing various outcomes and stuff. And it's crazy. Oregon has been so close multiple times since the turning of the millennium to winning a national title. Really, hell, if you want to be more specific, they've been so, like, again, 2010, 2014, last year, this year, other years where they didn't quite make it that far, but probably should have if things go a little differently. And Indiana's about, in just 2 years of Kurt Signetti, is going to do something that Oregon's been trying to do for forever. And as long as Kurt Signetti is coaching Indiana, they're going to be a perennial powerhouse. Like, nobody could have. I'm not like, even for as good as Indiana was last year. Like, I think people kind of wrote it off as a bit of a fluke based on the schedule. I don't think anybody saw, and I'm pretty sure people even thought they might regress. If Kurt Signetti can keep up this dominance with the changing landscape of college football, as an Oregon fan, we're screwed because Ohio State's always going to be at the top. That's just how they are. Indiana might have just made us the third wheel in this conference, and until we can beat Signetti, we're not winning a national title. We can beat Ryan Day and the Buckeyes all we want. We did it last year, the first time. Um, in fact, I think we had done it one other time before. We're not winning a national title until we can figure out Signetti. Because even if we figure out Ryan Day, Signetti's the big boss that's waiting for you at the end of the game. It's that simple. So, with that being said, thank y'all for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.